Rob Square!
Who?
My guy. Our guy, the OG of the pod, one of my best friends, Robert Capizillo. Say hello to the fans.
It's honestly a privilege to be back. I'm thrilled. We haven't talked football in how long?
I also had a text. Not in person. It's been a long time.
Well, that's when the passion comes
I
in.
owe the pod to this man. He branded it. Fucking Caps, man.
No.
Love you. This is running back. Reach fade right here.
Love the sign.
And
Love the sign.
I do have a quick story time with Rob for you. And this is kind of a weird story time because the old school fans will remember this. It goes back to the same very episode 2 years ago. I'm going to tell you a little tale about two guys who actually at the time weren't even that drunk. Weren't even that drunk. We're on the Tiki Bar doing Tiki Bar Chronicles, right? For Running Back Reach Fade. This is like episode 9 for us.
I feel like I already know where this is going. Right?
And Erica had a couple of her shirts hanging out there because we don't like to dry everything. And I thought it was a great idea to put it on. And then I did a whole episode, I think it was wide receiver before, with her shirt.
I have my Hawaiian shirt.
Are you wearing something different?
Fuck you. I have my Hawaiian shirt over there. It was our goal. But then I saw this nice little Rascal Flatts shirt sitting over here. It's my fiance's. And
There are new sponsors. We figured we'd give a shout out. I mean, I've been Torpedo Beer.
He didn't think I'd fit into it. And I told him these are stretchy shirts and I'm not as big as he thinks. And lo and behold.
And then you thought it was a good idea to put it on too. I might have told you to do it.
We were Rascal and Flats.
Yes.
I mean, we were just role playing.
It wasn't even that late though when we started. It was like 10:30. And by 3:30 we did like 4 episodes. Now we have our little shirts over it, but we're still in women's tank tops. talking football, and then we thought the conversation was great. It was literally serious fantasy football conversation.
And one time I went to go drink at Torpedo. Oh, look, my shirt. And Rascal.
Awesome Hawaiian shirt.
So I asked Rascal, he's like, no, dude, I don't have any extra shirts. So I asked Flats. And Flats said, here you go.
And that's an Abercrombie. I see the little sparkles you have there.
Well, so Rascal and Flat, they both have a a deal with Abercrombie. So I told them, if this is all you got, I'm willing to rock a little Abercrombie.
We're looking good.
You're rocking it. I'm rocking it.
Yeah, we're looking good. He
That's,
looks a little better than me within it, but either way, we're stealing women's shirts. So
thank you, Rascal, and thank you, Flat.
Yeah, thank you.
And Torpedo Beer. This is out to you. I wouldn't be wearing this if it wasn't for you.
And the next day we go to review it, edit it. We're like, we look like fucking morons. But we couldn't nix it because we didn't want to re-record it, and it was such awesome organic football talk that we prepped for. So we had to, regardless, that's out there.
Here's the way I think about it is there's certain moments in your life where you just live in the moment, just have fun. Like it doesn't matter. Like
that was it.
People could look at that and be like, look at these, whatever they want to say, right? But also in the moment, we're like, this is hilarious. This is funny to us. Like this is.
We're having a good time.
This is real. Like this is something we do as friends.
Yes.
And that's, I think, the organic orientation. It was always an idea.
Yeah.
But that was the organic. Look, we can just be friends and just have fun.
And do what we do normally, even though I don't think normally we would dress up as clothes.
No.
But it seemed like a good idea at the time, right? Until we look back, we're like, what the fuck?
Well, in the moment, it was perfect because we were making all those jokes, and then that came about, and then we could not stop laughing over it.
No, it was awesome. It was awesome.
That's what it's about.
Memories, baby, friendships, all this shit. Rob Square. The ones that have been watching from the beginning though will know what we're talking about. If not, go check it out, man. Episode 9, pretty awesome shit. Running back reach fight. I can't even talk. Reach fade. Reach Friday.
We get home safe, Pistol. You got it, Jobin. What? You nicknamed me Pistol, and I just called you Jobin. It means nothing. I'm drunk.
We have a couple names for you here. 3 reaches, 2 fades, maybe a couple extras. I got to go through Nick O. He sent me his reaches and fade real quick. He had reached J.K. Dobbins, Breece Hall. Yeah, J.K. We love J.K. Dobbins.
Okay.
Breece Hall and Javonte Williams. And I will say he sent me this before the signing of Dalvin Cook.
Okay.
But I know Nick O, and I know our philosophy, and I feel like Breece Hall is going to go from ADP 43 to ADP 60 with this signing. So he's going to probably... I actually kind of like Breece Hall more 2 rounds later, right, after the injury, because we think he's still a better player than Dalvin Cook is right now.
Okay.
Come on, Breece Hall. That's why I'm just... maybe I'm wrong.
Like Pro Bowls in a row. I mean,
I get it, but he's a little trad, and there's a reason he stayed unsigned for so long. His fades. Dobbins we talked about for a while. Why we love him. It's just an upside pick. Javonte Williams is playing this weekend in preseason game 2. He's ready to go. It's not going to be a Dobbins issue from last year. And he's going ADP 90. Love that. I mean, we love the player.
Javonte Williams was a consideration for a reach.
He really is. His fades are Bijan Robinson and Alexander Madison. We have talked about Bijan a lot. I agree with that one. Madison.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah. Madison is up in the air. He's a super safe player. Me and Nico love Ty Chandler, although that's kind of been... He's not proven to be the number 2 right now, but it's just the Madison talent level. I'm just speaking for Nico right now.
Sure.
That's why he's fading Madison. I don't necessarily agree with the fade of Madison. I think you draft him at his ADP. I'm going to let Caps, since you're the new guy here, even though you're the OG, today you're the new guy, give me your first reach at running back. What do you got? Also, this is going off NFC National Fantasy Championships ADP from August 1st till now, which is August 17th.
Yeah, which I think is essential.
Full PPR.
Full PPR, 4 for passing touchdowns.
Yep.
Those are 2 crucial elements.
Yeah. So quarterbacks are way down a bit.
Either way, this is some guy that I texted you about, I think maybe 2 or 3 months ago. And a guy that I was high on last year that actually came to fruition, Jamal Williams again.
You were very high on him last year. You said he was going to be an RB1 5 times, and he was actually just an RB1.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So he's
an RB1. He was like a top 3 guy.
You're high on him. He's what is he? RB what? 50-2?
I have it written down here.
Whoa.
So Jamal Williams is RB 38.
Okay.
ADP is 108. The touchdown leader from last year, and now AK-47, Alvin Kamara is going to come back.
Yeah, after 3 games.
I get fine 3 games, but also those 3 games means he can't practice, has to work in for 2 or 3 weeks. So really, you're talking a 4, at least a 5, maybe 6, 7 week schedule for him. And he was like one of the first signings. Like he was the premier.
Yeah, they made a point to sign him.
The crazy thing is, like, all these guys were cut, and Jamal Williams was one of the first running backs to be signed.
Dalvin Cook just got signed. Dalvin fucking Cook.
It wasn't necessarily, they weren't necessarily free agents at the same time,
right.
But also the writing was on the wall type thing. Jamal Williams, I remember, was one of the first news articles I heard. He was a point of emphasis for the Saints. So simply put, like, he is part of their game plan. He is part of that. I want this guy that's not going to fumble. I want a guy that's a goal line guy. I want a guy that we can rely on time after time.
Time after time.
I have a little combo session for my first 2. I have Nick Chubb and Tony Pollard. Nick Chubb is going RB5, ADP 15. Tony Pollard is RB6, ADP 19. I'll tell you what I'm reaching on them. Is that I have them at RB... I have Nick Chubb at RB1 overall. And I have I have Tony Pollard at RB4.
Finally.
Yes, and I have Tony Pollard at RB4. So I'm reaching on those guys because I want them over Saquon and Bijan. That's why they're a reach for me, because if they're on the board, if I have that pick, I don't have to necessarily reach on them, but I'm going to be taking them at 13, 14, 12, right? And I love Nick Chubb, safest guy in the league right now, and he's getting the passing down work right now. He's going to get it. He's going to get a full 3-down workload on an improved offense. I've talked about this, and that's why I compared them, or I put them together, because I talked about mostly Chubb a lot in this pod. Tony Pollard we've been asking for this, right? Last year, Tony Pollard had the longest average touchdown in the league last year at like 30 yards. and Zeke had 12 touchdowns in the goal line. So I don't even need all the work to go to Tony Pollard in the goal line. We know he can score anywhere in the field.
I'm sorry.
He can go anywhere in the field, right? Touchdowns. If he gets half of the goal line work that Zeke got, you're adding 6 touchdowns free, and the man scores from 30, 40, 50 yards out. I know there's a different offensive coordinator. That hurts the passing game more than it hurts Tony Pollard.
Well, Ryan McCarthy, that's the offensive coordinator.
Right, and that sucks. I don't care. Dak's still solid, dude. They're still a playoff team. And who's the lead back there? Who's an explosive player? Saquon Barkley, I love the player. The team, the schedule is insane for the Giants. And other than the same division, dude, it's not good.
Insane in a bad way.
In bad way. Really? Hardest schedule for running backs. Hardest schedule in general. And the Cowboys don't have a cupcake either, but I feel like Tony Pollard he did it last year. RB7 last year with Zeke having 12 touchdowns. No way he finishes worse if he stays healthy.
All right.
The concern is health, but you know what? We're talking about running back. All these guys have health concerns because they play running back.
It's like the fact that he's the person that didn't game plan for. That's my concern.
Last year, though, he was the better player.
He was always the secondary guy. At the game plan for a certain guy, and he was so much different.
I get it. I just see if he gets 18 touches a game in that offense, Tony Pollard's going to be a top 5 running back all day long. He's going at RB6. Who's your next reach?
Okay.
I combine those two, by the way, because I like both of them.
So my first one was Jamal Williams. My second is some guy from watching the pod. I'm sure you guys are high on him still, maybe. Damian Harris.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
very high. He's actually dropping now because of the James Cook 3-down roll thing.
Thank God.
He's a tiny motherfucker, dude.
We've both seen James Cook's fucking video.
Yep.
And then we've also seen Damian Harris's fucking film. Excuse my language, but also, what the hell are people thinking?
Damian Harris is a better player.
Damian Harris easily had probably 4 out of the top 5 runs in the NFL last year.
Well, it was 2 years ago he had the top of the runs, and last year was pretty good too.
Yeah, in his limited time because of his injuries.
Yeah, he had a couple baller runs, dude. Shedding off tacklers.
But I'll still stick
to
the fact that we last year we discussed Josh Allen's going to have to not take as many goal line rushes, not take as many hits. And he never had. It was Singletary and Cook. Those aren't goal line dudes. Now he has a guy that has a nose, almost a Zeke-esque, like prime Zeke. Like I bold statement, but you replace Zeke with Damian Harris on the Cowboys when Zeke was in his prime. Like he's getting 15 touchdowns. He's getting 1,400 yards. Like if he gets those touches and stays healthy.
That's what he does.
Same player.
I'm glad you brought him up because, I mean, obviously me and Nick have been talking up Damian Harris. You've been talking up Damian Harris from day one. This year,
he's a guy
at his cost at Buffalo, love it.
Love it. I mean, James Cook is going 4 or 5 rounds higher.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to get the most touches.
It's a 50-50 split in my mind who's going to get the goal line work. It's not the fucking little pipsqueak. It's not. And you know I like James Cook coming out.
I think they finally have a back that can handle the workload. As long as he stays healthy. I mean, that's the caveat.
And there's a reason they signed him because he destroyed the Bills every time he played them in cold weather. Right? They saw it. They saw it. He's a monster.
I legit remember a text from you last year. Like, did you just see Damian Harris's run? It's like Beastquake mode times 2.
Yeah, it was Marshawn Lynch shit, man. And that's what he is. He's amazing.
That's what I'm saying.
My next reach, Joe Mixon. I know I've talked about him ad nauseum for years. It's RB16, ADP 48. And Joe Mixon is not the player he was. I believe I overrated him for years. But Joe Mixon has nothing around him in terms of the ADP guys going there, and also the team. There's no one there. There's Chase Brown. There's a bunch of guys that are scrubs. Championship team. Samaje Perine's gone, man. So
the Bucks, right?
No, Perine's in the Broncos now. So here's who's going in front of him. Joe Mixon's going 16. In front of him is Jahmyr Gibbs at 12, Etienne at 13, Breece Hall at 14, Aaron Jones at 15. After him is Kenneth Walker, Javonte Williams, and Miles Sanders. Dude, Joe Mixon is my RB12 because Joe Mixon is a 3-down back that can score 5 touchdowns in a game. We've seen it. He gets 60 catches. He's not the most explosive player anymore. He's trusted. He needs
it.
This.
He is, though. What are you talking about? Like, he just got hurt, and then, here's my opinion on Mixon. Like you kind of like give me like a spiritual awakening here.
Okay, good.
Mixon, it's like literally last year, I remember trying to trade him because he had the 5 touchdown game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, this is his peak. Obviously, he's not going to do better than 5 touchdowns. But, like, he's, 27, 28 years old?
26. Which is getting up there for running back. Same age as Saquon Barkley, though.
No. He's still, like, if anything, he's entering his peak now. Like, what do you think about basketball players? They enter their peak about 27, 28 years old. Like,
I say running back's 24, 25. But
no, he's entering his
then
peak.
thank you. Making my argument for me, buddy.
No,
I've always loved Joe Mixon, the player, but I feel like he's a little diminished as a player. But, like, dude, Joe Mixon is the definition of a 3-down back. And, like, if you're going to take guys like Kenneth Walker or Breece Hall, dude, Ramondre Stevenson, Najee Harris is RB9 right now. Do you want the guy's going to get less work on the Steelers, who has more competition, or at 9, or the guy on the fucking Bengals, who is I say equal player to Najee Harris right now, and a better offense,
a better player.
Okay, there you go. Who do you got for your next reach?
Oh, this is familiar territory. Swift. Dude, like,
I love Swift. I love the talent, man, but it's tough because I kind of like Penny too. So because Penny's been great when he's played.
But all right, so what's the biggest knocks on both those players?
Health.
Yeah, and who's been healthier?
Probably Swift.
Yeah.
Which is saying something, but
that's what I'm saying. And who's also a more of a 3rd down back?
Swift.
I'll just ask questions here.
Swift.
You make my case for me here. This is what I'm saying. Swift is an elite 3rd down back, a better receiver, more not an efficient player, not a available player all the time, but a more available player versus the other guys on the roster. Like, there's a reason that they're not trusting Boston Scott and I forget the other dude's name. Like,
Kenneth Gainwell.
That's what I'm saying. The 4th guy on the fucking depth chart. Like, there's a reason that they're signing 2 other players that are super injury prone. Like
RB26, by the way. I think his ADP is 90 something.
Yeah, he is RB26, ADP 75.
Okay, that's fair because the upside is we drafted DeAndre Swift in the 1st round last year for a reason. It was a bad decision, let's be honest, but it wasn't the first 2 games of the year when he was healthy. My next 2 guys are a package deal I'm reaching on. It is A.J. Dillon at RB32 and Antonio Gibson at RB33. I've talked about both these guys a lot. That's why I'm kind of packaging them in here. For my 0 running back builds, I'm fine with both these guys as my RB2, especially in PPR, and Gibson more so in PPR. But, Dillon's had 30 catches in a year multiple times, which is that's more than Henry's ever had. And Dillon is Derrick Henry.
I thought about AJ. All right.
In terms of a bruising back. He's not Derrick Henry in terms of talent, but do the math, man. We're talking about RB32 on a team that's going to try to hide their quarterback, that has a good defense and a pretty weak division. A.J. Dillon has had 195 carries each year.
You're right.
I mean,
you're right.
And he's always finished at RB23, right?
Dude.
So
now you're talking.
Is he ever gonna go? But is he ever gonna finish worse this year than 23, which is what he's done the first 2 years that he's had any kind of a role? No. And now I'm telling you, Aaron Jones has a lot of tread on his tires. I've said this again a bunch in this pod.
You already talked me into it.
He is a serviceable receiver, quadzilla. Love that. Antonio Gibson. The Commanders are going to be trash. Trash. That division, the Giants are the 3rd best team in that division, and they have the defending Super Bowl NFC team, and
the best
Cowboys.
NFC team in the playoffs last year.
And the Giants are solid. And the Commanders have no quarterback. So it's like they're going to be getting their brains beaten in. Brian Robinson, I like Brian Robinson. And they're a competitive bad team, which I love. They're going to lose a lot of games. Brian Robinson, great story. Like the player. He is not a receiving back. Antonio Gibson's 235 pounds and runs a fucking 4.4, dude. And he was a wide receiver in college, so he has the receiving skills. He's scored 11 touchdowns and 7 in his first 2 years. Then it was 4. He's had the touchdown equity. He is a better player than Brian Robinson. He's going to be playing the J.D. McKissick role with plus. McKissick had 4 or 5 carries a game. He's going to have that plus 9 carries. Give me 14 touches at RB33 with an explosive player on a bad team that I know can play. He's kind of a bonehead, but he needed time to fucking simmer, right? He's like a fucking... He's like a broth, all right? And, he has not had time to really... You got to, let it simmer, dude. and he's simmered now. He's
Soak in,
24,
soak in.
25 years old.
Let's do his thing. a little
He's
bit.
had his experience in the NFL. Brian Robinson is not. Who are they going to be playing when they're down 21-7 in the third quarter against the Eagles? It's fucking Antonio Gibson, dude.
I don't think the Commanders will be that bad.
Then that's also a plus for Antonio Gibson because then they might win some games.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
and
like, well, he might be the reason they win games.
'Cause he's
He has
a-
2 or
he's-
3 touchdowns.
They have good receivers, but Brian Robinson's not a game breaker. They need more playmakers. That's Antonio Gibson's son. You have one more reach for me?
Well, that was my 3. So I did Jamal.
Oh, you had 3.
I did Jamal Williams, Damian Harris, and then Swift.
Okay, yeah, I had the package deals. Okay, your fade. You have 2 fades for me, Cappa?
I do. You're not gonna like the first one.
Probably not. What is it?
Pollard.
Oh.
I like Pollard as a player. I like the way he runs. I like all that, but just he was always the second thought. Like I've read this book before.
Right, the second guy always is more efficient. 'cause
I've
he's
read this
playing on
book
3rd and
before
6.
because they're playing for Zeke.
I get
Who
it.
runs between the tackles and is like more like, let me get 3 or 4 yards. Let me get 3 or 4 yards.
Pollard comes in the efficient
and then
situations.
Pollard goes out, and then all of a sudden you fake it inside, and you toss it outside to Pollard, and he gets 8 yards. And like, holy shit, Pollard had 4 runs for 36 yards. Or
Did you see Tony Pollard's 2 games when Zeke was actually out last year? He had 50 touches and like 290 yards and 3 touchdowns. Just saying, when he actually got the role.
So to what I'm trying to my point, what I'm saying is, that's fine, that's great. It has the potential, but I haven't he's never been the dude.
No,
he's never been the dude where people game plan against him. Like maybe for those first 2 weeks, but it seems like Zeke is always a questionable. Like it was never like he's out.
But the games he did miss, Tony Pollard crushed. Same with Madison, but we know Pollard's a way better player than Madison, right? I like Madison, but Pollard's a game breaker.
No,
let me throw this at you, man. Last year we had the same kind of dispute. Is in the wide receiver show. I had CeeDee Lamb as a reach, and you had him as a fade. CeeDee Lamb was closer to a reach than a fade last year, correct?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he was.
He was great.
It was obvious watching their offense. He
was the guy.
He was the only guy.
I'm going to give you my first fade. It is tiny dancer Kenneth Walker. He is a dancer. He dances around. He's friends with Elton John. He is RB17, 80, ADP 54. I love Kenneth Walker, the player. He's really explosive, but he's a dancer. Zach Charbonnet is what they needed, and they drafted him. He's a no-nonsense Matt Forte type that is a better receiver and a better short yardage back. So if he's going to lose the 3rd down role and the short yardage role, you're drafting a home run hitter, per se, too high because he will win some weeks for you with a 70-yard touchdown. He'll also have a hell of a lot of weeks where you have 16 carries for 70 yards and 2 catches, and that is 9 points. At RB17, that's right where Joe Mixon's going. No. Timeshare running back, dude.
To me, when you say Kenneth Walker, to me the biggest question is, what does Geno Smith do the same thing, improve, or
he's not going to do better. And that's the thing, is I'm not even mentioning that.
Well,
because the offense, that wasn't my argument, was the offense. That's a whole different story, right?
Because the whole idea was they're going to be a one-dimensional, here's our running backs, because we have Geno Smith.
Right.
But Geno Smith was a revelation. So is Geno Smith, is he the same revelation, or now does he come back to earth a little bit, or is he better?
He's not going to be better, I don't think.
So the 2 out of 3 options say that Kenneth Walker's not going to do as well, right?
He's a between the 20s guy that doesn't catch passes. That's a problem.
I'm with you.
I'm going to give you my second fade real quick. This is an easy fade is James Conner, RB27, ADP 75. Now, RB27 sounds juicy for a guy in the first couple weeks you know he's going to get all the work, which I'm not debating, dude.
Sure.
They're going to be trash. They got no one behind them. A couple of their backups, their name elude me, but whatever. That team sucks. Kyler Murray may not play this year. They have their draft pick. They also have the Texans draft pick. If they can get the number 1 pick with theirs, Texans are going to have the 4th pick. They get that. They could have the 1st and 4th pick in the draft. Either keep Kyler and trade that 1st pick back and the 4th pick and do what the Bears did and just have fucking awesome team. All the picks, dude.
Like Oklahoma City,
right? Especially when you have a Williams, right? Caleb Williams.
Sure.
He's going to garner a lot. We thought this year what we got the Bears got, which is crazy. We traded down 1 pick, 2 picks, and got a lot for that. For Bryce Young, who's a pipsqueak, Caleb Williams is a higher sought-after prospect, and there's no one else after him, it's like they're going to lose this year. They're going to try to lose this year. They have a new coach, new front office. They're going to lose because it's in their best interest to lose. And James Conner is a better player than anyone else they have. Him on the field is only going to help them win. He's not a very good player anymore. They're bad. He's not going to have any touchdowns. They're not going to score any touchdowns. I like Hollywood Brown. I do. Because they're going to be losing, and while he's on the field, he's going to dominate. Sure. This dude, no. No. A.J. Dillon or Gibson all day over fucking Conner, right? Depending on your build, because Conner, you do have the early on stuff. You're talking 5 running back spots earlier. We are talking literally 25 picks, though.
Sure.
2 rounds later, do you want Dillon or Gibson or fucking
so
that
just
old dinosaur?
Spoiler alert, if you can't tell based on the way I'm discussing the quarterbacks, or the running backs rather, I am more happy with the mid to late round running backs. I don't think that there's much of an advantage of taking a running back in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th round.
Yeah.
Versus the
Same.
6th, 7th,
I agree.
8th round. Not saying I don't think they're going to produce the same.
So you like Conner, is what you're saying?
I'm hesitant to agree with your opinion.
He's bad. He's not a good player. He's inefficient.
He's always overperformed.
Oh, no, he's not. He only had 1 year over 1,000 yards rushing in his career, dude.
He stepped in when Le'Veon Bell retired.
How has he only had 1 year over 1,000 yards, though, Caps? That's not good.
Fair enough.
That's not good.
Fair enough. Look, I don't want to die on James Conner's hill.
You're doing it. You're dying on the hill. It's a bad hill. There's herpes and AIDS up there. There's a bunch of crazy
I think it was
shit.
more the comparison, the players you make comparisons to. I would rather have him over.
That's
AJ
25
Dillon.
Picks later, though, dude. I'm not saying in a vacuum.
No, I know.
At ADP, and even in my mind in a vacuum, I am taking Gibson and Dillon over him.
I
am.
All right, let me say this. I think James Conner's peak is RB2. Well, not his peak. But I think
RB2?
That's my he's like RB2 to me.
Yeah,
that's my. If he does anything better than that, I would probably trade him. I would probably trade him like I have in the past.
He's getting drafted at RB27, which is almost an RB2.
Pretty much an RB2.
Right. I'm saying, so what do we do
almost.
if that's his peak?
That's what
I think the other guys have
fair enough.
peaks that are RB2s.
I'm thinking now.
Hey, he's thinking it out.
Right.
Do you have another fade?
I do.
Is it a big one?
Yeah. A guy that I was really high on last year, Josh Jacobs.
Ooh. Not contract concerns at all, just Josh Jacobs. Just
offense? That's primarily my main concern is the fact that he hasn't signed. He's holding out right now.
Uh-huh.
So even let's say he does play week 1.
Slow start.
What is he going to get? 8 to 10 carries?
Slow start.
Maybe not even carries, but touches.
Mm-hmm.
And then week 2, he might get 13 to 15. However they want it. Whatever numbers they determine are right for someone that's working back into it. Then also, I've read this book before where the guy comes in and he's trying to prove himself and does too much, and then hamstring, and now he's out for 3 weeks, and then he's tendering that hamstring for the whole freaking season. And I don't want to be trapped into that where I feel like we always saw peak Josh Jacobs.
Last year, peak. Year before,
that's what I'm saying.
too.
It's not going to get better. You're drafting him as a starter. I'm not convinced that he has the upside. There's so many other guys where you could convince me easily that Damian Harris has more touchdowns than him, that Jamal Williams has more touchdowns than him, that both those guys have more touches than Josh Jacobs this season, just because of the scenario of him going in.
Really, and he was your reach last year, by the way, which is a great call for Caps.
I did well.
It was a great call.
I did well on the running backs.
You did.
Outside of that, because I didn't draft the running backs early. But either way, I'm not convinced. It feels like McDaniels is trying to make his team, his philosophy, his idea, and he's just changing everything. And for the one holdover to not have the contract, be unhappy, hold out, come in, and then just be gang. But if you're drafting him as an RB1,
Yeah.
I'm not convinced. I'm
It's
not
rough.
convinced.
We will be back with quarterback and tight ends. Reach fade. Caps, thank you so much. It was a great time. Rob, square.
And it's been a complete joy.
Took the restrictor plate off, give the Red Dragon a little more juice. But let's keep that on the down low. It's not exactly street legal.